Simon Mayo.
Oh, yeah.
Drive time's on and we want go home.
From the very top, then.
It's good to be wise when you're young, 'cause you can only be young, but for once, enjoy yourself, have lots of fun, serve God and live, my friends, and it will never done.
Come on, you know how this goes.
Enjoy yourself.
One more time.
It's later than you think. Enjoy yourself.
We have some snacks for the journey.
You're still in the
A degree of lubrication
years go by.
for the sore throat, and we're ready to go.
Quickly as the wind. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think.
All right, well, here we go.
Simon Mayo, 88 to 91 FM, BBC Radio 2.
Hello and welcome. This is another Confessions podcast from your friends at Radio 2. Say, you want another jingle? Oh, it's a Christmas jingle. Well, there you go. It's still a Christmas pop jingle. ID Xmas pop bed, this is. This is going to be slightly weird. Anyway, here come another audio array of terrible tales from some very sinful Radio 2 listeners. Will they get forgiveness from the juggernauts of justice? This week's concise collection features My Funny Valentine. Come on, baby, light my fire. That's a nasty one. Dancing, Scream, and with a little help from my friends, and here they all come right after this spiritual moment. Father Son, my confession is also a plea for advice, as I am yet to own up to my act of deception. It involves a significant deception by me towards my husband of nearly 29 years. I first met him through a mutual friend in 82 when I was 21, and we were both in other relationships. Then, after not meeting for a few years, I bumped into him again by chance in 86, with me newly single, but crucially not looking for a relationship. Myself and my friend ended up becoming part of my future husband's gang down the local pub, and we were thoroughly enjoying being single and having fun with fantastic friends. But then in late January 86, my friend and I thought it would be funny to send my now husband an anonymous Valentine card. After all, what harm could it do? We carefully chose a card, and I wrote it using a very different style of handwriting from my own. I also drove across a border to make sure the envelope didn't have the local postmark. I even spelt his name wrong to throw him off the scent. Smart, see? On Valentine's Day, he arrived at the pub with the card in his hand. My friend and I immediately recognised the handwriting on the envelope and nearly gave the game away by our reaction. Fortunately, the others had also noticed the card and had started to discuss who could have sent it. We took great pleasure in our denials and joined in with the rest of the lads by suggesting who else might have sent it. This included bar staff and other customers. The whole rigmarole went on for weeks until everyone had become thoroughly bored. The following year, we did the same thing and generated the same debate and joviality about who the secret admirer might be. By now, my friend and I were in the clear and even appeared beyond suspicion. I was delighted our prank and deception had not been discovered. However, over the next year, my relationship with my now husband changed and we became involved. We were walking out together. Thank you. Initially, our relationship was not known by the other lads, only my friend. At New Year, we decided to get married and arranged our wedding for the end of February 1988. But here was my dilemma. Now the relationship was out in the open and wedding plans underway. Do I still send the secret Valentine card? The answer? Hell yeah.
Okay.
I'd really started to enjoy the debate, confusion and suspicion of others this created. Plus, it was involving the whole group, and I didn't want to disappoint. Every year, I had the same thought. Do I own up and tell him that it's me that sends the card? And every year I make the same decision. Hell no! Eventually, the time came for me and my husband to move away from our hometown, which coincided with my friend also moving away. So was this where the deception ended?
Yes, please.
No, it's not.
Oh.
I just enrolled another friend in my deception so that she could continue to post the card from the original county. Every year when the card arrived, my husband and I would debate and consider who could be sending it, bearing in mind they had our new address. People from his work, joint friends. Those still going to our old haunt were all in the frame. Sometimes discussion got a little heated, but I always made sure I diffused it and reassured him that it didn't really matter. It's now 2017. 31 years after the prank started, and every year without fail I'm still sending this card. However, is now the time to stop, or should I keep it going until our 30th wedding anniversary next year? We've had a happy marriage and I have not lied, deceived or deliberately created argument, and have worked hard as a wife and mother to ensure a happy and balanced family life. Our children are all grown up and successful in their own right. I don't think my husband has any idea it's been me all along, and if you recall some of those debates and discussions over the years, may not be too happy about it. I also don't want to burst his bubble if he thinks somewhere out there he has a long-standing secret admirer. So I kneel before you asking forgiveness from all the people who unknowingly contributed to my deception over the years. I ask forgiveness from my friends who I asked to become involved in my deception and willingly did so. However, I ask for my husband's forgiveness most of all, and I humbly ask for advice. Should I tell or not? Is it too late? I promise to act on the advice given, whether I am forgiven or not. So we want two things from you, please, Sister Bobby. Is Eve forgiven or not? And what should Eve do? Because tomorrow is the big day.
Two things. So the first thing is, are you forgiven for sending it in the first place? Not really.
No.
It's very simple. Don't mess around with people's hearts. It's really not fair. Poor man. The other thing, though, now you've started this ritual, it kind of seems a shame to kind of end it. So, conversely, I think you shouldn't tell him. I think you should keep going right to the end, because I think in the end, if
Right
you go
till the end?
well,
What's the end?
When till death us do part and
Okay,
all that.
that-
You know,
that
the
kind of
happy
end.
end.
Why?
Because
Goodness.
then it could be quite lovely that when they're both 90, you know, walking to the supermarket with their little shopping bags together, then she goes, you know that card, and he goes, I know it was you, because he knows it's her.
Oh, you think? Okay, well, he might do.
I think he knows. You're not forgiven for messing with. Don't mess with love. It's way too big and important to have fun with. But having said that, you've started this ritual now. Keep it going right to the end, and don't tell him.
Brother Matthew.
Well, I concur with Bobby in that this is clearly playing with fire. This could have gone very, very badly wrong. And I love the fact that she says, I've not lied to my husband at all for our years of marriage, apart from that massive lie that I've been telling for 31 years. Apart from that lie, I haven't done any other lying, so I'm perfectly in the clear. I've got to say, I think that he knows as well, but I think you still need to tell him. So I say you need to tell him, and also you need to stop doing this because it's a little bit creepy. So I am not going to forgive.
Father Simon and sisters Matt and Bobby. Your sister
Yes,
Matt and
that's
sister
fine.
Bobby.
Yes.
My story dates to 1978. Can I just say there's lots of things in this confession that you should have nothing to do with.
Oh, good.
Bad practices.
Good.
Very bad practices. Don't copy
Don't
it.
do them.
Don't do any of this. 1978 was a different time. We got away with all kinds of stuff. I was 19, happily involved. It's Tony.
Tony, thank you.
I was 19 and happily living at home in Finchley, North London, with my parents. Fresh out of school, I had somehow joined the world of work as a reinsurance clerk with the Eagle Star Insurance Company in Aldgate, City of London. One day, my dad said his company had been relocated and that he and Mum would be moving to a lovely village, Hatfield Heath, in Hertfordshire. My salary was the princely sum of £1,998 per annum, and the prospect of having to commute from Hatfield Heath to the City of London was daunting. A drive in my Triumph Vitesse to Harlow Town Station, parking charges, season ticket to Liverpool Street did not make much economic sense. So when we moved, I looked for employment locally. I got a job at an electronic components distributor in Harlow in Essex, and life was good. However, I knew no one in the area. My enlightened boss suggested I get a job at the local pub for an evening or two to get to know the locals. This I did, and started working on Wednesday and Saturday nights at the Three Horseshoes pub in Sawbridgeworth. Okay? This was a good move, as I soon met loads of people, and more especially met, as we used to say in the 70s, lots of lovely ladies.
That was the 70s, obviously.
I'm just reading it out.
Yes.
I should tell you at this point that I used to smoke a very jazzy brand of cigarettes, so it's the 70s. What? Why are you looking puzzled?
I don't, because I have no idea what those are.
Well, they just had jazzy colours.
Oh, Oh, okay.
That's all. And I had acquired the jazziest Colibri lighter known to man. Colibri. Anyway, it's a jazzy lighter. It was silver with a flip lid and an air of majesty and decadence. If you flipped the lid, the gas started flowing and the flame was ignited by a battery piezoelectric system.
Wow, this is so specific.
A small square of clear plastic insulation on the front had a silver button in the centre. Once the button was touched, provided the lighter was in your hand, contact was made and the lighter started to tick, tick, tick as the piezoelectric ignition fired up and lit the flame. I'm sure you'll agree, very impressive. And definitely not a total overcomplication of a classic lighter. As I began to make new friends in Sawbridgeworth, the lighter became a bit of a party trick for me because they were impressed by this kind of thing.
Fire.
There was nothing else happening in Sawbridgeworth in the 70s. I once had 20 people hold hands when the lighter was in the hand of the first person, and the last person touched the button. They made the circuit and it lit. I really was Mr. Cool. Rock and roll, Sawbridgeworth. Fast forward a few weeks and a beautiful young lady, let's call her Linda, came into the pub one evening while I was working. It didn't take me long to pluck up the courage to ask her out, and she graciously agreed. I thought it would be bad form to bring her to the pub in which I worked, so I picked another of the village's local watering holes. We arranged to meet for 8 o'clock, so rushing home from work, I donned my best Tom Baker-inspired scarf and hat. Really? Off I scuttled to the pub for my hopefully romantic date. We met at the appointed hour, went inside, and I, ever the gentleman, bought a round of Cinzano.
A round. Yeah.
2 of your finest Cinzanos, please, young man. We sat down, Cinzano in hand, and politely I offered her a cigarette. Now, obviously, now we would just say no, because that's a bad thing.
Obviously.
Anyway, she accepted. I, of course, produced my trusted Colibri lighter and proffered a light. Tick, tick, tick. Nothing. Strange, I thought. This had never happened before. Tick, tick, tick. Nothing. Strange again. Was my guaranteed showstopper going to let me down just when it needed to perform? So then I did something inexplicable. I mean, really, this is Class A stupidity. I sniffed at the open lighter to see if it had run out of gas. It ignited at exactly the moment that I was sniffing hard to see if I could smell gas. I must have accidentally touched the magic button inside the insulated square because suddenly the lighter ignited. I inhaled the resulting flame right into my right nostril.
No.
The pain was excruciating. The smell of burnt nose hair and flesh, disgusting. The Cinzano flew wildly everywhere in a crazy 70s style.
Oh, yeah.
I will never, ever forget that moment, and I hopped around the room in agony. My eyes, particularly my right eye, started weeping uncontrollably, and much painful nose-blowing followed. Linda didn't know what had hit her. 1 minute, a normal human being offering her a light for a cigarette. The next, a grown man jumping around in pain, crying, and suggesting, "Please take me home." I did ring a few days later to suggest another date, but strangely the request was denied. So, Father Simon and Caring Collective, I ask forgiveness from Linda for ruining a potentially promising first date and what would have been our 39th Valentine's Day together. From Tony. What a tale! Obviously, smoking is bad, and and doing that thing with a lighter particularly stupid, as I think we've just proven. And there's no need to over-egg that particular pudding.
No.
What do you say, Sister Bobby?
Well, inhaling fire, we know, is a well-practiced trick.
And this is from a woman from the circus
But
who
you
knows
should
these
never
things.
do it via your nose. I mean, the thing is, you should have gone to A&E, you daft idiot. Never mind going home. Can you be forgiven? Well, the thing is, every time you do something to impress someone, and even if it is just have a trick lighter, if that's what your trick is, I think we all fail. The thing is, you just have to be yourself. That's the thing, Tony. If you'd just been yourself, you wouldn't have inhaled fire up your nose, would you? The thing is, though, I think she missed a trick. I'm disappointed in Linda that she didn't come out with you again and, go for a second date.
Yeah, you
Because
could have
any
been
man
quite
that
cool.
inhales fire on Valentine's Day in honour of you is worth something. So, of course, you are forgiven.
All right.
But don't do it at home.
Of course. Brother Matthew.
Obviously, I mean, if you've got a trick lighter, then you're going to use it, aren't you? I know if I had one, I would want to use my trick lighter all the time. And also, most first dates are always awful. And so to be able to say, oh yeah, I went out with this bloke and he set his nose on fire, that would at least you'd have some story to tell. So why isn't she going out with it? Her loss for not going out with nose on fire, man. So I am going going to forgive because they were different times, everyone, and we all need to move on.
Father Simon and the juggernauts of justice and the purveyors of penitence. My confession takes us back to the 70s, a decade of crazes, from questionably patterned carpets to bizarre cooking concoctions, and the boom of everyone learning to dance. I, not wanting to miss a fad, joined a night school where the class was specialising in learning classic English country dances and all forms of Morris. That's what's going on. So, The class was billed as a male-female mixed group, but really we were all females, of all ages, jumping on the bandwagon with the odd beleaguered man trying to look burly. Back in the 70s, I was in my early 20s, and having signed up for the dancing classes, persuaded my friend Sue to come along with me. Although initially apprehensive about strutting our cloverleaf turns and our figures of 8, we were soon converted. So we've been doing about English country dancing in school, but this is like where you're volunteering for the class, okay?
Paying for it.
Well, and paying for the pleasure, yes. Our teacher was Miss Fussell, an elderly spinster, of course, whose genuine enthusiasm and energy meant that after a few weeks of dancing the Morris, I had already bought all the necessary gear, the bells and the whistles, if you see what I mean, and the hanky and the stick, because that's what you need. So you can bash the sticks and wave the hanky. As the weeks progressed, the classes went very well, with Sue and I finding our confidence and our steps, and Miss Fussell getting more enthusiastic and more energetic. So much so that one day she suggested we were good enough to perform in public. Our first, and still to this date, 40 years later, only display was arranged for the local pub car park. Sue and I invited our friends and family to come and see the hanky-laden spectacle. However, they promptly refused because it was apparently the wrong end of town.
Excellent.
So one evening off we went, Sue and I, stick and bells in hand, sharing a lift with the burly male dancers. As the old Morris Marina, ironically, swung around the corner to the pub, things didn't seem quite right. Leather-clad bikers festooned the car park, bandanas around heads and bikes glistening in the sunshine, and there in the middle was Miss F, setting up the sound system, as we didn't call it in the 70s. We piled out of the car and started off with a couple of Morris dances, soon getting the hang of dancing on tarmac, which, as you know, is different from the church hall, and the banging of sticks and the shouts of "hey" as you jump and join sticks soon had the pub regulars and the bikers full attention. We were going something like this. Here we go. Hey! Bang my stick and wave my hanky. Oi, bikers, look at us. Anyway, they all looked on a little bit bemused and amused at our twirling and our bells and our whistles and my navy-flowered circular knee-length skirt flying around in fabulous action. By this time, Miss F was ramping up to her energetic and enthusiastic best and called out for us to do my favourite country dance, which is the Cumberland Square 8. This. Check out our Square 8s, Cumberland. Now, this fast dance involves galloping in a circle, holding hands. Then we did it again.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
So we're holding hands, we're twirling our partners, and we're charging polka style across the tarmac. You can imagine the scene. We really got going with this one, whirling and twirling and gambling and prancing. No G. Starting to really turn on the Morris for our biker audience. They were loving it. It's going very well until I realised to my dismay that I had... that I had worn my favourite old knickers. Orange-flowered Bry nylon from British Home Stores, for anyone who had the same. I know, well, we all did, didn't we?
Yes.
As you'll know, or maybe you don't, Father Simon, old knickers are a little more relaxed. Oh, good, I'm glad that started again. In the elastic of the waistband, and vigorous whirling and twirling, dancing and prancing does cause any loose-fitting items to slowly navigate their way down one's legs. As the orange flowery undergarments started to pass my thighs, I endeavoured to take bigger gallops to stop them, causing the dancing circle to adjust their steps to make allowances for me. As they continued to slide, I was positively leaping around. But as the pants passed my knees, I stumbled, causing my fellow dancers to hop instead of polka across the car park. And finally, the knickers found a resting place around my ankles, framing my feet, the crowd watching on. Hindsight is a wonderful thing. However, at this point, I felt I had only one option. Thank you very much. Hoping that the crowd were taken in by our fast movements and jazzy footwork, I bravely stepped out of the bri nylons and, without breaking step, stooped to pick them up. I gracefully polkaed across the tarmac, holding them hanky style in the air until the end of the dance. So
right.
I was pretending it
Yeah.
was look at my handkerchief.
There you go.
Bright,
Meant to do it.
yes, orangey, BHS bri nylon type. I think I got away with it, except for the circular skirt that was mostly in full flight during the dance, and the crowd's raucous shouts of encore, encore
Oh, but
may well mean that
Yeah.
I was twirling a
Yeah.
little bit too vigorously. So anyway, Father Simon and the Collective, I come to you many, many years later to seek forgiveness from the audience, who probably got more than they bargained for. And Miss F, who I'm sure had never seen the like in all her years of Morris dancing. And finally to my fellow dancers, who at points had to hold both my hand and their underwear as the dances proceeded, which they weren't expecting.
No.
I still love dancing to this day. However, I do make sure I'm wearing something that can fully handle any vigorous whirling and twirling, which I think we all should. It's like a motto for life.
Yes.
Always make sure the elastic is tight. Anyway, that's Elise in Cambridge. It's a tale which I think we all have to bear in mind as we go out and about. Sister Bobby, what do you reckon on that one?
Well, we had a confession a few days ago about thong, and I said, look, it's simple. When you've got a frock on, you need big pants.
Yes, that's true.
Just in case anything happens. And it's one of those things that, like I say, big pants win. Big safe pants win, you're right, with tight elastic. Elise, that was both hilarious and excruciating. It's quite a different show, isn't it? With your kind of take on things, but well recovered. I think really well recovered. I would have ran off absolutely dying of embarrassment.
Because you might not think, you might be concentrating on the stick and all the steps and all that kind of stuff. You have enough to think about without wondering about whether you got the right pants.
But it was double whammy, because she lost her pants and then it became a quite different show. So, but you are quite forgiven.
Look at
I
her
have
with
to
the
say.
orange handkerchief,
Yes.
they were all saying.
Yes, they
I
were
haven't
saying
seen one of
that.
those before.
And
Yes.
well done for the bikers for not, for kind of going with it. That's all I can say, and enjoying
I'm sure
it.
they did.
Yes.
Brother Matthew.
There's any doubt there. Obviously, if one is going to take part in this, then obviously you do wear more tightly fitting pants. But if you do forget the golden rule about the tight fitting pants, then it is important to be able to brazen it out. And obviously, I've never been in a position where either A, I was country dancing, or B, wearing a skirt. But if I were, then I would be making sure I could brazen it out if this happened to me. So I would say absolutely forgiven.
Dear Confessions Collective, I beg for your forgiveness for an incident that occurred a number of years ago when I was a young, carefree, and on reflection, perhaps lacking a little in empathy for my fellow worker. I think so. My story begins rather unexcitingly in a large office in the City of London. My role was essentially office administration, and I was part of a team of around 50 people. It was, in fairness, not a bad place to work. It was a young organisation, and the majority of the staff were in their early 20s, following the work hard, play hard approach to life. Presiding over the 20-somethings was a father-type figure called Trevor, who was a rarity. In his 50s and waiting for retirement, Trevor was our David Brent. He trod the line between being down with the young uns and, when necessary, performing the role of a responsible adult and carer. One day, I was happily working away at my desk when Trevor pulled up alongside, brandishing a dreaded large brown collection envelope. We've all been there. Hi, Trevor, I said, hoping to send him away as soon as possible. What's up? Very sad news, I'm afraid, Bilbo. Sally has severely burnt her ear and is going to be out of the office for a couple of weeks. At this point, I was genuinely concerned. Oh, that's awful. How did she do it? Well, she poured hot oil in her ear, says Trevor. Now, I was young, Father Simon, and to be honest, all I really cared about was football, beer, and generally having a good time. In my later years, I've since discovered that warm oil poured into the ear with the correct medical recommendations and caution and care can be a helpful thing in treating ear infections. However, at the time of my conversation with Trevor, my immediate thought was, what kind of an idiot puts hot oil in their ear? How ridiculous. We're having a whip round to buy Sally some flowers, Trevor went on. I'll leave the envelope with you if you could pass it on. I took the envelope, which was surprisingly weighty with cash, and pondered for a nanosecond. No chance, I thought. There's no way I'm rewarding stupidity.
Correct.
Before proceeding to sign the envelope, confirming a donation had been made, and passing it on to my neighbour without depositing a penny, or experiencing even a wisp of conscience, if that indeed is a unit of conscience.
Now.
The following day, Trevor arrived at my desk once more, again bearing an envelope. What the heck does he want now, I'm thinking. Good news, declared Trevor. The department head has agreed to pay for Sally's flowers, so you can have your money back. This was my moment to come clean, do the decent thing and admit I hadn't actually contributed. After all, I may have been unsympathetic, but there was no way I could make financial gain from Sally's misfortune by taking other people's money from her collection, now was there? Great, I replied. Only problem is I've got no idea how much I put in. I just grabbed all the change from my pocket and dropped it all in. Tell you what, take it round to everyone else, get them to take their money back, and whatever's left, that's obviously going to be mine. Phew. Satisfied with this arrangement, Trevor trotted off the way he did, and I carried on with my day, glowing with the thought that I had done the decent thing. Friday arrives, and I was sipping on my mid-morning tea when Trevor appears again. Here you go, said Trevor, and he handed over exactly 28 pence in loose change, including some copper coins. He did not look impressed. There's your money back from Sally's collection, he said snootily. I was now in a predicament. Another chance to do the right thing and admit my tightness, or follow through with my charade and take the money while simultaneously sweeping my guilt under the carpet. I made the only logical choice available when your reputation is at stake. 28 pence! I raged. That can't be right. I don't know exactly how much I put in, but it was a lot more than 28 pence. I'll tell his reverence. Trevor looked on dismayed as I continued my Oscar-winning performance. Someone has taken more money out than they put in, I went on before turning to my colleagues, pointing at them and declaring, guard your possessions, there's a thief in our midst. As I slightly reluctantly pocketed my ill-gained 28 pence. I therefore plead for the forgiveness of the Confessional Collective. It was an inexcusable act, and one which I learnt from. I'm now a far better person. I merely passed collection envelopes straight on without applying a contribution-made signature, says Bilbo. So Bilbo hasn't moved on that much. Interesting, we've all had that moment, but of course, obviously, everybody just gives something. I think that's the obvious thing to do. So I think, Bilbo, actually, you're going to be up against it here. Let's see, Sister Bobby.
We all lose and gain by who we are. So make sure. What do you think?
Hang on,
Isn't it?
write that
I'm gonna write that one down,
Yeah,
yes.
we lose because that's it. So make sure you're happy to lose and gain by what you do. So that's the thing. So there you go. You thought you got away with not contributing. I understand your point of view, but you thought, oh, it's all right, I won't contribute anything. You didn't have to say anything. You thought you got away with it. And guess what? You didn't. And then you got 28 pence and try to blame everyone else. So first of all, you try to blame someone else that they were a thief and had been dishonest when it's you that had not been generous
It's not
in the
looking
first
good,
place.
Bilbo, is it?
So you're ungenerous, you're dishonest. So Bilbo, no.
And you smell. I think that's what we were leading up to.
There you go. So you're not
Novice.
forgiven.
Well, this gang of four office admin, we lost us there, didn't you? We're not particularly good at that. I don't care what any of you say. I know you're not. Also, I was always told you shouldn't put anything bigger than or smaller than your elbow in your ear. So oil and all that. I mean, I have to say that was a bit by a loose
I
translation.
haven't understood a word you've said so far.
You shouldn't put things in your ear.
right,
Anything,
okay.
Mum said, anything smaller than your elbow shouldn't go in your ear. Come here, I can't get my elbow in your ear.
Listen,
Right, there you go. I was with Bilbo until the moment when he came. He had the opportunity to go 28 pence. I thought I put more than that. He could have just walked away, but no, he wanted to go for Act 1, Scene 3 and make a big thing of it, and that's when he lost me. Because up to then, I was definitely going to be forgiving him. But then, when he made a big and suggesting there was a thief in his midst, Bilbo not forgotten. Forget you are forgotten, but not forgiven.
Bobby, did you get the envelope for Bobby's birthday?
Yes.
Did you put something in?
Well, yes, I did. Of course I did.
Yes.
Hang on, there's no card yet.
Oh, here it is.
Hang on.
Hang on, I've got it here.
Okay, well,
It's an empty envelope.
So the problem here is that you need to have the courage of your convictions, don't you? You need to be able to, because he would have been well within his rights to say, no, I don't want to give any money to Sally, who frankly has let herself down by deciding to pour hot oil in her ear, deserves everything she gets, which would would have been perfectly fine. But instead he goes down this road of, I want to have my 28p and eat it. Well, I am going to say, not this time, Sonny Jim, so not forgiven.
Well, they were this week's confessions, but who did you forgive? Really? I'm surprised. Anyway, your own dark secret, please, inspired maybe by one of those. confessions@bbc.co.uk. Yes, it has its own email. And it's about time you coughed up. confessions@bbc.co.uk. If you missed any of the shows this week, you can go back online on your smartphone or tablet or the BBC iPlayer radio app. This is what you need to enjoy. On Monday, we went hammer and tongs with Neil Gaiman discussing his new book about Norse mythology. Also found out if the Queen's crown is adjustable like a bike helmet in case she fancies a cycle with a crown on. We announced Radio 2's most played love songs of the 21st century on Tuesday. And at number one, it's a bit of a spoiler in case you're checking up later. Anyway, it was Robbie Williams' Angels. And Nell Bryden was our special guest in the studio. Wednesday, author John Boyne was in to talk about his brand new novel, which I think has got the greatest opening line of a book this millennia. Let's put it like that. Foodie Thursday, Nigel came in with some baked smoky yoghurt chicken. Just 4 random words which he'd put together to make a recipe title. And if you made it to the end of last week's podcast, you had to tweet lava, 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 which made a lot of sense in the context of last week. So Linda and Natalie and Yvonne and Ed, loads of others who channeled their inner underworld, thank you very much indeed. This week's code phrase is, if you've got this far and you just feel like telling me about it, I do see them all. I'm quite partial to a Swift Cumberland Square 8, actually. Thank you so much.
So